So we Googled the word assert,
Yes.
and actually it's done verbally. So you assert something means you state something.
State fact.
But assertiveness doesn't mean that you go around stating things.
True.
That's
Because it's a mannerism, isn't it? It's a way of projecting yourself
yeah.
more than a thing.
And we talked about words around it. So confidence came up,
Yeah.
being direct. What else came up?
Taking the lead,
Yeah.
control,
Yes.
being observative, body language. So again, a lot of discussion was around not just the way you say something, which I know people say a lot, not the way you say something, but how you say it. But it is true, I think, with being assertive, particularly in person, obviously not if you're on the phone. So we did that, and eye contact, things like that came up.
And we decided as well that it was a good idea to talk to everybody about why assertiveness was a good skill to have. Because some people, particularly some people who work here, because I know them well, would shy away from assertiveness thinking it felt more like arrogance or aggressiveness.
Yeah, which we did discuss as being some of the pitfalls of maybe being too assertive, depending on who you're having a conversation with.
Yes.
You did that sort of either you're at one end or the other end of assertiveness. You don't want to be to the extreme of one and not the other.
That's right.
Um,
And particularly if you're in front of somebody who is less assertive. So if you've got a less assertive vendor and you're a very assertive person, you could overwhelm them.
Yeah.
But the opposite can happen, and that's more likely to happen when we've got quite a young female team of concierges, as we call them, client executives, and we've got some very high status, high value male individuals.
Certainly do.
And so it's very easy for them to feel patronised, condescended to, or just overridden
Yeah, definitely.
on things.
Yeah, so for our team to be able to go in and control that situation, and I think we discussed things like coming across as believable, and that you're listened to.
Yeah.
You know, if you go in and you're not assertive, it's very likely your vendor's not going to really listen to you, or they're not going to believe what you're saying, or, you know, they're going to refer to the fact, oh, I want to speak to one of the directors, you know, who are you, kind of thing. Whereas if you can come across confident in what you're saying, in both the way you say it and how you look when you're saying it, they're going to believe you. They're going to listen to what you have to say. So,
And they'll feel reassured by that.
yeah, very reassured.
I mean, I know that Phil and I have got the sort of experience and probably the status in terms of it's our names above the door to be able to be really assertive with a high status guy, let's say. And it always is the guys, isn't it? High status guys. Or the ones that portray themselves as high status anyway.
Yeah.
And I know Phil went to see, we've got a 6 million coming to market, haven't we? And he went to see him, high status guy. And the guy said, oh, there must be some mistake. I asked for the owner of the business.
Yeah.
And Phil stood there in his T-shirt and jeans.
But if you can come across assertive, it doesn't really matter what you're wearing, does it? I suppose?
No. And actually, before Phil had learned those skills of assertiveness, in the first year when he went out, he would have been floored by that.
Yeah, definitely.
He would have done a little silly, nervous laugh, but he wouldn't have got the instruction because he wouldn't have come across as believable and expert and all those other things.
Yeah.
Whereas I could probably at that time have done a better job than he did of being assertive and gone. Well, he wouldn't have said it to me, would he? Given my age, but I think I probably would have handled him a lot better.
Yeah.
Now, fast forward 7-8 years, Phil is really good at being
Very
assertive
good.
with people.
Yeah. But I think even if you turned up and if you weren't assertive, they could do exactly the same. But, you know, I asked for Sam Ashdown, who's this mousy little thing that's turned up at my door. But you don't, you know, if you come across assertive as you do, naturally they're going to have confidence. Oh, yeah, this is Sam Ashdown.
I wonder then, thinking about that. So we've just been on the cruise, haven't we, on our team holiday? I think we mentioned it on a previous pod or two. And let's say we're stood talking to somebody on the ship, all of us together, all 13 of us. Could that person have spotted who's the owners of the business? Me because of age.
Not just because of age, but I think you do have a presence. I think there was a perfect example when somebody was trying to ruin our team photograph. Awful woman. But I think it was very clear that you were in charge of that group just by, you know, you were quite assertive with her in a polite, respectful way. But I think it was clear that you were. Phil, maybe.
He was laughing.
Yeah, he
I think
found
he'd had
it
a drink
funny,
or
didn't he?
two.
But yeah, I think you could do, sure.
I think, especially, you're in a senior leadership position. I think the same with you. So let's say take me and Phil out the equation, you should be able to see that you are, by the way that your mannerism is and just the way you hold yourself, where you speak to people. I think that you come across as a senior member of the team. And I think if you look at some of our other team members, for example, Abby, who is, she's been with us for a few months now. Her confidence and her expertise has improved massively. But sometimes because she's got a high status individual on the phone, she doesn't get that across.
Correct.
And that's what we wanted to try and help her with, try and bring that out. So she isn't somebody, I think, that would naturally step back in that situation, that confrontation situation.
Which I think she did.
Which she probably did, yeah. She probably hid, actually.
Yeah.
Sorry, Abby. And I'm the one that steps up and forward.
Yeah.
Because my team is like my family, and I just want to go, get out of the way.
Yeah, hold on a minute, we're trying to get our team photograph here.
There's nothing more important right now. So I think it is about the way you look and behave, as well as all the other things. Because I'm not very tall. No. You might not have noticed.
I'm tiny.
5'2". And so when I'm in a situation where I have to assert myself, I have to make myself bigger. So we talked about this, didn't we? About tactics.
Yeah.
What did we talk about?
I mean, naturally now, I already feel I'm sat up straight, shoulders back a bit more than usual. But these were all the things that we were talking about this morning in the training, which is really true, both if you're on the phone and in person it could be a evaluation or a styling shoot. You know, if you're sort of hunched down and, you know, looking a bit mousy and a bit small, you just don't hold the presence. But naturally, I think by sitting up straight, shoulders back, I call it like a bit of a Superman pose, you come across more confident naturally in your voice and your tone and all that kind of thing. So, yeah, we spoke a lot about that. But, yeah, you definitely did that in the moment on the cruise. I saw you sort of like feathers
grow
out
a bit.
And, get a little bit taller, tiptoes.
It's funny, actually. You know, when we moved all the office around and me and Phil came out of the office, you probably can't remember that. It's probably like 3 years ago now or something. And we came up here where we're recording this from now. And Phil gave you his desk.
Yeah.
And you grew on that day. You grew like 3 inches on that day.
Yeah. It's funny how desks do that.
They do that.
Yeah,
It's true.
do.
So actually where you are in the office signifies assertiveness or status, whatever you want to call it, doesn't it?
Well, yeah. And then when I took this role on, you pried me from my desk downstairs upstairs.
Did, yeah.
But it does make a difference because I think it differentiates you from a certain role to another. You know, there's that gap between, I don't know, the hierarchy, I suppose. Not that we like that at AJ, but yeah, it definitely makes an impact.
It signifies to the team that you're doing something that needs quiet, separation. Otherwise, we're saying one thing and then you're just doing another. Because you probably would just carry on answering the phone and all the things that you're already doing. So I think there is a visual clue or a set of visual clues that denote assertiveness. So the way you stand, the way you use your voice, the way you have eye contact. So we did a little role play, didn't we, where we answered the phone, they answered the door to each other and pretended to be Venda and AJ. And there was a very assertive, aggressive version.
Yeah.
Probably, that was me, very aggressive. And I kind of, pushed you through your own doorway, bossed you around.
Barged in.
Yeah. And then you were the little meek, mild, didn't even make eye contact.
Bit frail.
Yeah, bit of a limp handshake.
Weird, really.
It was a bit creepy. And then we did the sort of perfect one where actually it was lots of eye contact, big smile. You introduced yourself by name straight away.
Yeah.
You were square on to me. You know how sometimes you answer the door and somebody's standing kind of sideways on or looking the other way?
Kind of just like looking around the side of the door.
Yeah. I feel it's a bit weird that.
Yeah,
I think you
it's
should be
strange.
straight on.
Yeah.
And you know how some houses have got like there's a step and then there's the main door. You probably can't stand on the step because you're going to feel a bit too much in their face. So you have to make yourself bigger, not being on the step.
Yeah. I think it's bigger leaning in.
Yes.
Without being in their space.
Yes.
Dirty Dancing quote there.
Yeah.
But you've got to show that, you're kind of confident enough that you're going to get your foot through the door.
Yes.
If you sort of like stood back a bit and, a bit wary, then
Yes.
they're going to think, oh, who's this? And they're not
Yeah.
confident.
And what I think Lucy said, what's on your mind gives you, we actually talked about charisma for a while, which I'll tell you about in a minute, but what's on your mind was really important. So if it's on your mind that person is going to consider you an unwelcome intrusion, then you're going to appear at that door in a different way.
Yeah.
But actually, if you know they're going to be welcomed, or you're going to be welcomed, and you're going to be it's a happy experience, an enjoyable experience that they're going to go through, like styling, for example.
Yeah.
Or it's a valuation appointment and they've looked forward to it for weeks and they've got the tea tray out and, you know, the welcoming fill-in with the open arms.
Yeah.
Then I think that assuming that it's going to be a positive experience shows in your face and in your mannerisms when you get to the door.
So it's like mindset.
Yeah, it
Getting
is.
in the mindset of this is going to be a good
Yeah.
experience. Yeah.